Hello guys, today we will replace the water pump on this Mercury 15 HP 2-cycle outboard motor. So let's watch it right after this message. Our RickStuff store is finally open, so go on spreadshirt.ca today to save as much as 15% on your RickStuff gear and accessories. Type RickStuff in the search bar and you will be redirected directly on our store page, where you'll find everything you need, whether it is for man, woman, kids, or even dog accessories. So obviously the first step is to remove the prop. I will zoom in and we will start the disinstallation of this gearbox. So to remove the propeller is very easy. The first step is to unbend the two lock tab on the safety pin, and after that I will remove the nuts. I already unbent the lock tab, so I am ready to remove the nuts. This is the tab I'm talking about. Those two tabs need to be bent tight on the nuts so the nuts don't loose with the vibration. Just pushing it as well. After the prop is removed, to remove the gearbox you have 5 bolts. Most people don't know that. They remove the 2 bolts on each side and they try to pry this out and they break things because there's another bolt here and it's hidden behind this fin here, so you can't see it. You need to remove the fin before removing this 5th bolt. So we remove the fin right away. But before that, I need to get a marker so I can mark the fin and reinstall it at the right position later. But just to make sure that I put it back at the right position, I will make 2 marks. And when I will reinstall it, I just need to follow the marks. Lose my rubber here, be careful not to lose it. As you can see, there's some dent here and there's a teeth there, and when it's tight you can adjust it the way you want. Now you can see the bolt. Maybe you can't see it from there. I will try to put you closer. You can see the bolt here. I believe it's 5/8. And the washer's gone. If you look here, this is the shifter rod. You need to make sure when you disconnect it, because in the long nut here, there's the joint between the upper rod and the lower rod. So when you're disconnecting it, you need to make sure to know where it's going, because if you don't put it exactly at the same position, you will have problem with your reverse, front and neutral gearbox. It won't be adjusted the same way. So I haven't moved the lock nut, so when I will reinstall it, I will put back the lock nut at the same position, but I believe the lock nut is already at the lowest position, so there is no there's no other place to make it. Yeah, it's pretty tight at the bottom, so the other one. Just go right at the bottom, as you can see here. If I can unscrew it, it was at the lower section of the nut, so it's pretty much put it back there and it will be at the right position. Now I'm ready to remove the 4-bolt and lower down this gearbox. Bit easier on the right side. Should not fail on its own, but if you see the gap opening, you better put something underneath or asking a friend to hold it so it doesn't fail on your toes or on the floor and break something. But as I expect, it doesn't. It's still pretty tight here. I will need to wiggle it a bit. There we go. Now our 5 bolts are removed. Ready to try this, and as you saw, it's pretty easy to remove. Now on the upper section is just some spline at the end of the shaft getting in the motor. This is our shifter rod. And this is the exit of the water pump pushing the water up to the motor. I ordered a complete kit, not a cup, but all the bushing, the washers, the nylon washers, and the impeller as well, with the gasket. So it will be a complete replacement. The only thing that don't come with the kit is the cup. Last week I had a little incident. I was at a stop sign waiting for the traffic to pass by before I engage on a street, and a guy hit me at the back, made some damage to the fin. So I don't want to take any chance. Since I have the gearbox in my hand, I will bring it to a machine shop and I will make them measure the shaft, make sure it's not bent. If it is, I will ask them to fix it or to straighten it, and after that I will replace the water pump. I just don't want to replace a water pump yet and receiving it from the machine shop and having some dirt going in there and ruining my brand new water pump. So I will replace the water pump when the gearbox will be back from the machine shop. So good news, guys, I received my gearbox from the shop. The shaft is straight and nothing is broken inside, so I can move forward and replace the water pump. Pretty easy to remove. Now if you don't know on which way your motor or the shaft is spinning or is rotating, it's important to know that, because when you will reinstall the new impeller, it need to be bent in the right direction. You will see what I mean in a second. But if you're not sure on which way your shaft is rotating, you can know by on which side the impeller is bent inside this housing. Reason why you want to keep the impeller in and not fall on the shaft out of the housing, because you need to remember, or you need to see on which side you will need to install the new one. In my case, it's clockwise, but I believe it's not the case for every outboard. So it was on this side. So if I replace the housing on the same position, it was on this way or this side. My shaft is clockwise, so the bend in the impeller should be toward the left, or if I flip it, it should be toward the right. And it is. It's pretty dry in here. Let's remove it. You have a nylon washer here, and you have another nylon washer here. It's important not to lose it if you just bought the impeller itself. In my case, I bought the complete assembly with the gasket, the nylon washers, and the impeller. But if you planning on replacing only the impeller and you haven't bought the complete kit, make sure not to lose those washers because they're very important. I will just put those in the housing of the pump so I won't lose anything. This pin here, it's what's holding the impeller to the shaft, so it's spin in the same time as the shaft. So again, if you haven't bought the complete kit, make sure not to lose this pin because it won't work. When your shaft will spin or will rotate, the impeller won't move. So make sure to not lose any parts. But as I said, in my case, I bought the complete assembly. And obviously when you remove all of it, you need to make sure to know on which way you remove it, because if you install that in the wrong direction, you will have problem later. But in this case, very easy because the gasket is still stick on the plate. So I have the inlet here for the water pump, and here I have the circle of the housing or of the impeller itself. So it's pretty easy to know or to see that the impeller or the plate going this side. Here the way to mount the plate, it's very easy. If I take the new plate, the little lobe here for the intake of the water is on one side more than the other. Is not completely centered, as you can see. So to nail where is the top and where is the bottom, this is the top, because if you put in on this way, you can see that the lobe is more on the left, and this side it's on the right position. We can also put all the holes together and make sure all the holes are aligned. In this case, they all align, even the little one here, so it is the right position for the plate. This will be the top. So I will clean a bit on the top, but it's basically only to remove the dust because, as I said, there's no gasket sticked here. Because even if the exhaust is going through this section, it's not getting hot enough because it's obviously in the water, so it's not getting hot enough to make the gasket melt and stick to the bottom of the motor. And some people said or think you should put some silicone, whatever. In the manual, the Merc Cruiser manual, they said to not put any silicone in it, and it's basically because it will be useless, since this section with the exhaust here, it's getting full of, not full of water, but there's some water getting in here anyway. So it's not to prevent water to get out of the housing of the pump. And even if you have a tiny leak between the gaskets and the housing, it won't cause the pump malfunction, since there's a pretty good flow going out of this pump. As I said, it's not a self-priming pump, so it's not like it need to be airtight to suck air in it. But with brand new gasket and a brand new plate, there won't be any leaks or any air going through anyway. So again, here, just to make sure, if you want to compare both gasket, you can see the inlet here. This is the bottom, because they are not the same, or are they? There's a little difference. If I put it on this way, it's perfectly at the right position, so the gasket will go this way. So the writing on the top, there we go. There we go. Now for this gasket, as you can see, there's kind of a little rubber lip around, and there's no on the other side. Since this is on the top, it's obviously going that way, and this rubber is to make a good bond between the housing of the pump and the gasket itself. So this gasket will go this way. Now I will put some grease here just to make sure the nylon washer don't go anywhere. I will put some in the, I will show you better where the pin is going, so the pin won't move. I will hold better, if I can say it like that. If you're not sure, you can compare the two nylon washer, but they are the same size, so it doesn't matter which one you put on top of the impeller and which one you put under. But and they are the same on both sides, so there's no particular order to put them. Now it's time for the pin. As you can see, this is the old impeller, and you have, I will try not to drop it, and you have a little lobe in the pin. It's going in the hole of the impeller. So I will put the pin there without dropping it in the motor. So I will, come on. Now it's at the right position. Thanks to the grease, it's holding well. Now we will put the impeller at this point. It's the same on both sides, so it doesn't matter which side you put on top. What will matter is on which way you will bend it, but we will see it soon. So I will put it this way. And put that in the pin. There we go. Now we're spinning the shaft with the impeller. It's what we want to do. Now it is the time of the second nylon washer. Don't forget it, because you will have a loose in your impeller. There you go. And another important thing that I was just about to forget is that you want to put some grease on a plate and in the housing to make sure that the pump or the impeller doesn't run dry on the first start. You don't want to burn your brand new impeller. So just a little coat, not too much, and don't lose the pin. Again, I will have to realign my holes, but I will install the impeller first. There you go. Now it's aligned. Now what we'll do, as you see, I put back the nylon washer, but I put back in the same time as the impeller. Reason why you didn't saw me putting it back, but it's on. And here we do the same thing. Put some grease on the impeller, not on the impeller, but in the housing. Not too much, just to make sure it doesn't run dry. Here, as you can see, I don't know if you can see, but the hole is not perfectly centered in the cup. And there's a reason for that. It's because it obviously needs to create a little suction to sniff the water on this side and to push it on top. It's time to put the housing in its place. And here obviously it doesn't fit. So what we will do is put a little pressure on the housing and spinning the shaft in the right direction in the same time, and it should get in this place, in its place, should I say. There we go. It's not very complicated, as you can see. I will now realign the hole because I moved everything once again. We won't tighten anything yet. Now I will move the camera here because I need to show you something. I will just put it here as a reference point. As I mentioned earlier, the hole is not perfectly centered in the cup. So as you can see, there's a little play in that shaft. So when you install it, before tightening the bolt, you need to make sure the shaft is centered in the hole so it doesn't touch any part of the cup or of the housing, so it's not creating any unnecessary wear on the shaft or on the cup, which will eventually ruin the cup. So you need to put that as center as possible so there is the same gap all around the shaft. I will need both of my hands for that. So I will put the camera back here. Sound like that. That look nice. So now it doesn't touch anywhere. I can tighten my bolt. There you go. Our new pump is installed. So for testing the water pump, some people just put that in a bucket of water and spin the shaft with a drill just to see if the water come out before installing it on the motor. But in my case, my drill doesn't fit on this shaft because it's too big and I don't have a bucket that size, so I will install it on the motor and I will test it after, but I'm pretty confident that it will work because the installation went well. So before installing that, I will check out the pipe. Yeah, this is very good. I will see if it fits well on the housing. I will put it back for now. Yeah, it's fitting very tight, so there's no need of replacing it. It's not blocked either. So I'm ready to reinstall this. And you remember this nut still at the bottom, so it will fit right at this place. So now we'll need to wiggle the shaft a bit. It's hard to see down here. There we go. As you can see, it's in. There you go. As you can see here, I need to tighten the long nut to join the two rods, the upper rod and the lower linkage. This little nut here is the gauge, since it was full down when I remove it, so I will just tighten this one full down on this one. After that I will lock both together. Here you can see they're both locked, so the shifter will operate correctly. Now this circle or this plate here, this fin, need to be reinstalled, and if you remember, I put 2 marks on it to make sure I know on which teeth is going. Here it's very easy because we can see the wear mark, but it was another precaution just in case the mark were not visible. Pin, and now put the bolt back so it doesn't move. There we go. Now only the prop left. So when you install your prop, don't forget to install this pin. With time, those pins break because of bending and unbending. So if you have one broken, you need to replace it. It's not very expensive, and you can find it pretty much in any boat shop. So that you put your nuts, and the nut doesn't need to be very tight because it's not what's holding the prop on the shaft. There's spline on the shaft, sorry. So the nut, it's simply to keep the prop from wiggling, so it doesn't need to be super tight, just snug, so the prop is tight on the shaft. After that, you need to bend. Actually, can't bend now. I need to put that on a flat spot. There you go. A little more. So now the little tab will lock the nut so it won't go anywhere. This won't go anywhere. Come on. There you go. So now I am ready for testing. Turn on the water. Need to put enough pressure so the water pump doesn't struggle to suck it. So as you can see now, the water pump is working, but there's still a little something that's annoying me. It's supposed to piss way harder than that, with way more pressure than that. The pump is brand new, and all the gaskets are brand new. Maybe when I will put it in the water, it will spray a little harder. I will see on my next ride, but at least now I know that the motor won't overheat because the water doesn't reach right at the top. Now at least when the water is getting out of this little nozzle, I know that it gone through the engine before, so now at least I'm not scared for blowing up my motor. So I will update you guys as soon as I will do a next ride on the lake and see if the jet is spraying a little harder than that. So this is it for today. Please like the video and subscribe to my channel, and don't forget to hit the little bell so you will be notified as soon as I will release a new video. So on this, I wish everybody a great day. See you later. Bye.